The idea was, just because you don't realize you're learning, you may be learning. And that's the experience for me. That little samurai, this kind of motion is repetitive, rote memory. You're creating these skills. And for me, it was over and over and over again. Sing, over and over again. Sometimes I'm not even thinking about it, and it just becomes, the muscle memory became instinctive. And even now, I can hit stuff, but I don't have to drill. You know, I'm 49 years old, I still wrestle with the guys. I don't have to worry. I mean, it's become part of me. It's instinct. And when I do this to William, you know, it flinches a little bit. You know, it becomes instinct. That's what you want it to do. If I'm working on a drill and I know he comes inside, if he's coming inside, I think that shot so many stinking times. The second anybody does that, my wife came up and gave me a hug the other day. I threw a half Nelson and I broke her collarbone.
That's how you know you married the right girl, fellas.
So, but those are the things, and you're doing these drills over and over again. And it's great to learn it here. But if you don't write it down, you go home tonight and write these things down, just literally key phrases and the drills, and do it over and over and over and over again, and make it instinct. Because, look, if you have to think about it, it's not going to work. If I'm in a tie-up position, and William overties me, comes in, I'm going to drag him every single time. I don't have to think about it. I know if I'm wrestling this guy, and if I pull here, I know the leg's there. I want to do my little radar step. You know? I know if I'm moving this guy, the timing. If I'm underhooking him, and I make him step. I know where his feet are. Because I look at foot feet about 50,000 times. And now, if you try to do that and I teach you, you're going to do this. There's nothing. It's not going to be there. You know, if I move you, well, the foot's not there. But I guarantee if I do this. Because I've done that so many thousands of times, I know exactly where the weight is on that heel so that I can make it so there's no weight. And I can just pick it up. And I didn't even look at that. And so, but it's from doing these things millions of times and making it a game and making it fun. Now, if I go in there and it's like, oh, God, I got to do that, or I make little games out of it, and I can see how perfect I can get. And then when I get to the point where I go to bed every night, I go over my drills when I was younger. I go over my drills in my mind, and I play them over in my mind over and over again. Now, it got to the point sometimes where I got a little anal compulsive. And so literally, I had to hit the move perfectly in my mind before I could go to sleep. A little OCD, but it was pretty good for me technically. And I was doing that at a very, very young age. And then I remember going to the Olympic Training Center with sports psychologists, and they talked about a study that they did, which was pretty impressive because I thought, you know, I've been doing that my whole life. Naturally, I didn't even know it. And the study was on basketball, because they want to put money where basketball, and they want their glory sports. But the study was relevant to wrestling and drilling. And the study was done where they took 3 sets of people, and they had one group they tested them all on their free throw shooting. And they had the one group come in and practice every day, bouncing the ball, certain way, shooting. They made it very scientific, as much as it can be for basketball, right? And shooting, because there's a ball, it can only be so scientific. And then they had another group come up and do the actual. So they actually physically did the shooting. Another group didn't do anything. And they had another group visualizing. Just pure visualization, taking the ball, bouncing it, physically doing this with their head, with their mind. And they found, remarkably, and it's this study that stuck with me to this day so clearly because I was doing this, is they found that the group that didn't do anything didn't really improve markedly at all, obviously. The group that actually physically did it gained 20%. The group that did it mentally gained almost 20%. It was really amazing study. And I thought, my God, that's what I'm doing wrestling. And I was doing it in my mind. And I can make moves. And I started making transitions, setups, and I'm thinking, well, if I do this, and right now in my mind, I'm actually doing it. I hit the guy in the head, and I see his hand come up, and I always say single. And so when you guys go home, and sometimes say, well, I don't have a workout partner, there's a lot of things you can do when you have a workout partner if you don't have a workout partner. It's ideal if you have one. But just because he's not a national champion, don't make an excuse for yourself. You're from Vermont, you're from wherever. The little Kyle Day came from a high school coach about this. Kyle Day, who was 4-time national champion at 4 different weights. He came from a high school that literally had 7 kids on the team. William wrestled on the same team, had 7 kids on the team. Now, they start off, they have 15 or 16, you know, 4 of them get in a monster truck accident or something, you know, this lands in New York, and they're no longer with the team. But he found a way to become really good in an environment that was not ideal. So we talk about Vermont, and, you know, I mean, you guys are in a lack of luxury compared to the best athlete that I ever trained, which is LA. You got a coach of 30, some guys in your team, my God, that would be a dream come true for William and for Kyle to have those kinds of resources. But don't let yourself make excuses. There's a lot of things you can do in the room, there's a lot of things you can do out of the room. And really for me, it was all about making it a game and trying to become a little bit better every day, every moment of my life. And I'd like to talk about my father's experience because my father taught me some of these things at a very early age, and I didn't even know he was teaching them to me. My father was a Normandy beachhead. He was one of the very first people on the beach. I think his platoon had his group had like 30% mortality or casualty. So if you ever saw some sighting of Private Ryan where they run off the beach, people getting blown to pieces, that was my father. And he was 19 years old at the time, and drafted, enlisted, it doesn't really matter back then, they was all the same. And he literally had to kill people. And he was talking to me about getting off the bottom. Getting off the bottom became very, very personal for him. And he would tell me, and he hated to get ridden, and I hated to get ridden. And when he was trying to get himself psyched up, he would visualize himself on that Normandy beachhead. Visualize himself going up and literally, his words, you know, I'm going to stick this bayonet into that son of a bitch's eyes and kill him. Because he was that guy who was trying to kill, literally trying to kill my father. And when he took that, when he was wrestling, he used to visualize that guy was that German. Now, you have to have certain experiences to be able to do those, make those real life experiences, and then you have to be able to control your emotions to the point where you don't actually literally take a knife and put it through the guy's eyes because you know he's a master to do that. But he would be able to turn his emotions on and off by creating those kinds of real-time images in his mind. I wasn't able to do that like he was able. He was, by the way, never lost a match in college, never had points scored on offensive point, left the whole Olympic team, one of the greatest wrestlers ever lived. And it was all because of how he would be able to control his emotions. And for me, I was able to do it on bottom. I was able to do it to where I was trained that I used to believe that someone was going to hurt my mom if I was going to get ridden. And I would literally start shaking. Like right now, I can literally turn it on to where I'm getting mad, and I was emotional. And I practiced it every day. And when I remember at the University of North Carolina, when I went to school, I got to the point where I had so much pride in that if I got ridden for more than 2 or 3 seconds, in practice, I would almost break out in tears. I would break out in tears. It was so emotional and so real. And people used to think I was sick, but for me, once again, it was a game. I had a great deal of pride in that kind of emotion. So there's so many little things in this sport that you can do that aren't in here drilled. The visualization, learning how to turn your emotions on and turning them off. And for me, I had to turn them off. Because when I was growing up, I had older brothers, and I would get in fistfights with my older brothers, and I would get so crazy mad that I would be exhausted after it was over. The adrenaline rush would be so crazy, and I would So in practice, I'd have to turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. Because if I didn't turn it off, I would be pooped. I'd be absolutely pooped. So those are little things, little games you can do. And on a single, I would make life or death. And for me, I didn't want to hurt my mom. Maybe for you, it's some of your little brother, whatever it was. But you have to practice that. Just like you practice a drill, I had to practice those emotional cues to turn myself on and off. And it made me very, very effective wrestler. It wasn't perfect, but I did win a national title, made world place in the world championship. And I know it was because I was able to control my emotions to where I could turn it on and become almost superhuman for short periods of time. And getting off the bottom was for me, the easiest thing to be able to turn off and off. Because it was a matter where I was so violent on bottom and had good technique that guys would just go, all right, you want that bad, it's yours. Have the point. We'll go on the feet. And on my feet, when I get on a single or on a double, I would turn it off and turn it off. So all those little things we talk, you hear the Spartan wrestling, the whole idea, the whole mentality, it's toughening up your body, it's toughening up your mind. Well, how do you do that? Yeah, there's all these physical drills and exercises, but there's the mental drilling of your mind, which you don't even have to exert energy. But you have to learn how to control those emotions. And literally, I can turn my body on and off where when I start to talk about it, it evokes those memories and those emotions, and I can feel the adrenaline coursing through my body. And it literally makes my heart race, and I have to slow it down. But it took me 30 years to perfect this, and I didn't become perfected. I was never as good as my father because I didn't have some of the real life experiences. So for me, I had to project certain emotions. I got off on a wild tangent there. I apologize, but for me, I remember my father preaching these things over and over and over and over again. And quite honestly, all the skills that I learned were great, but I didn't always learn in the restroom. I took them out of the restroom and I practiced them in my mind in hotel rooms and at home and on the car ride home. And I'm not trying to make you obsessed and crazy like me, but you can take a little bit out of this room and add it when you have downtime. Now, I want Will, because Will is the whole thing I got into this is Will's done this leg real